All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming and thank you for waiting. I called this press conference just to talk about the injustice done on December 3rd as it relates to Thornton, Riverdale, Harvey, Lansing, Markham, Homewood, Phoenix, Burnham, residents of Thornton Township. It saddens my heart to see such inhumane done to our seniors who stayed outside in the cold for hours waiting just for their right to vote. I stand today as their leader, as a mom, as a resident of Thornton Township, as someone that will not stand for injustice to anyone. I stand for voters' rights. We stand for voters' rights. Today, you will hear from me, the attorneys. To my left is Max Solomon. He's the lead attorney. To my right is Angela Lockett. And we also have Trustee Darlene Gray Evers and several other residents standing with us. Today, we are asking the courts to allow us to be heard. Today, we are asking to unmute our voices, which was muted on December 3rd at the caucus. I do not like dictatorship. I do not like a hostile takeover. I did not like what happened that evening. Everyone was there. Everyone witnessed what happened. So today I'm asking for everyone to band together with their super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, and let's stand for what's right. Let's fix what happened on December 3rd. So I am going to allow for my attorney to speak because our lawsuit is filed. We filed it today. And I thank you for standing with me, Max Solomon. I thank you for being the voice of the people of Thornton Township, which we so desperately need. It's been a long time coming, and today is the time to stand for what's right. Every day is the time to stand for what's right. But thank you for standing with us in this dictatorship, which we're asking for democracy, because that's what we live in, right? But that's not what was portrayed on December 3rd. As you know, the committeemen basically did so many illegal things that evening, and that's what is recited in our lawsuit, and we will be heard in court. I will let you guys know when that happens, and I also was told that he don't even live in Thornton Township, so how can you partake in the process? What we was denied is the process to be heard, which is come in and exercise our right to vote for whoever we choose or chose that evening as a candidate. We did not get the opportunity to talk or put any nominees on the floor, not one person. And that's what I mean about a dictatorship. So I'm gonna allow for Max Solomon to speak, and he can answer any questions after everyone speaks. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Good afternoon. My name is Max Solomon, S-O-L-O-M-O-N. Today, at the request of the supervisor, a lawsuit was filed at the Circuit Court of Cook County, County Division. The lawsuit names Committeeman Napoleon B. Harris as a defendant, and it also names the Democrats of Thornton Township as a defendant. We're asking the courts to declare that the caucus that was held last Tuesday, December 3rd, is invalid. We're asking the courts to allow a do-over, and we're asking the courts for other relief as the court would decide. The facts are very clear, and if you need a copy of our lawsuit, please send an email that has already been provided. And again, we're standing with the supervisor on behalf of the people of Thornton Township. Let me be clear, this is not about the mayor. This is not about the supervisor. This is about the people of Thornton Township. And not only the people of Thornton Township. If what happened last Tuesday were to be allowed to stand, chances are it would happen in other townships. What happened last Tuesday was not fair, especially, and we named this and we mentioned this in our lawsuit, the rules that were adopted at that caucus. we believe they were in violation of the law, and we would have an opportunity before a county judge to be heard. That's all I have for now. I will yield the floor for Attorney Lockett or Mr. Price.
Thank you. Just like to say that this has been an ongoing theme with the injustice and the illegal, what we would term illegal acts against our super mayor, as she loves to call herself. But in reality, she is a black woman who is constantly being attacked by others. Now, be it because she's a woman or be it because she's African American, that we don't know. But what we know for sure is that it's unfair, it's unjust, and that we hope the courts will see it our way. Thank you.
Okay, next we're gonna allow for Keith Price to speak, and then I will conclude.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I want to be firm in saying that the injustices that occurred started before the caucus. It started when they decided not to have a primary. That affected thousands of voters. The Thornton Township race usually does not bring out under 13,000 voters. To knock it down to a caucus is absurd. The night of the caucus stands by itself on its own merit. You all saw it, you witnessed it, you reported on it. They turned around and left hundreds out in the cold. We're just asking for justice to be served. This should not be tolerated anywhere. And really, they affected thousands of voters by even going the caucus route. I just want to thank you all, and I look for something promising out of the court system of Illinois.
All right, next we have Ms. Catherine Moore.
There were so many people lined up outside, and it was so cold. That's the only thing that I really took note of, because they wanted to vote. They took their time to come out. We had people out there that were on oxygen masks, pushing those chairs with the wheels on it, just standing out there. We were out there at 4:45. When we got there, there were lines of seniors out there. If most people know seniors, they do not want to be out when it's dark. So they were there on time. They thought that they were going to vote. And I'm just hoping that the courts understand how serious this was for them to want to come out, and it was so cold. They just wanted to vote. And I saw that as such an injustice. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, next we have DeMarcus.
My name is DeMarcus. What we seen December 3rd was a lot of dictatorship. I stand for the seniors as well as the youth. If we allow this to happen now, this can cause a grave danger for any elected official for the future. So with that, we stand behind Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard with this cause. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna conclude with this. If you weren't there, you can go on social media and you'll see everything that took place the night of December 3rd. Just to walk you through a quick recap of what we all witnessed. We all got there around 4:30, 4:45 for many of us. When we got there to the location, 2010 Chestnut Road in Homewood, we was told that we could not enter the building. We was told there was a party that was pre-planned, so that means it was premeditated, pre-planned, happening, going on, and we could not enter until 6:30. Reminding you, a caucus have already went out stating that it was taking place at 7 p.m. on that same very night. It saddens my heart, because why would they send a notice stating that they're not going to open the doors to 6:30? Everybody know that seniors especially come early to vote so they can go back home. And if you knew, like I know, hundreds of people was gonna show up, because y'all didn't know that, huh? Because y'all painted me as bad news for quite some time, that people didn't know I was gonna come with drones of buses, drones of cars showed up to vote for Supervisor Henyard. When we all showed up, they had to stay in their cars. They had to get out of line. Some people stayed in line because they wanted to wait just to vote. They then start opening the doors about 6:45. That's about 15 minutes before the actual event starts. How are they gonna process over 500 people in 15 minutes? No way possible. The only way that I entered the building or got to the front of the line is because a young lady, baby, got taken inside without her. So she was banging on the door saying, let her in, and making a mess, a stir up, which any parent would. So I went up to the line to help her. That's how I got up. When I got up, I got in maybe, 6:50? 6:50, checked in, and I proceeded to the gym room. As you can see on the tapes, you see me in the middle of the floor getting ready to hopefully nominate myself and my team, and anybody else should have been able to nominate themselves on the floor, and that did not happen. Once 7 o'clock hit, the committeemen started the caucus. Reminding you, hundreds of people are still outside saying, let us in, let us vote. They did not listen to anything I stated when I said, hey, there's people still outside. Let them in, committeemen, let them in. Don't start the meeting till the people get in. What's the point of having a caucus if it's not going to be fair? What's the point of having a caucus if it's going to be dictatorship? What's the point of having anything if you're going to mute the people's voice? I stand for our voices to be heard. I stand with the people of Thornton Township. I stand for righteousness. And I am asking the courts to hear our cries. I am asking them to take us off mute and let our voices reside throughout Thornton Township. I am asking for justice to be done within this injustice of Thornton Township residents. Voters' rights are at stake. It's a lot of things that happened that went wrong that evening. Gender discrimination happened. Bullying happened. Political bullying happened. Also, man, it's so many things to recite. So many things happened that evening, and we recited it in our lawsuits. So I'm gonna leave you with that because y'all know I could go about an hour with speaking. So I'm gonna make sure that you get a copy of the lawsuit and make sure that you understand that this cannot and will not stand. We will stand together. I'm also asking for all mayors to join us in this movement to stand for your residents' voices throughout Thornton Township. I do know that Fitzgerald Roberts of Dixmoor is standing with me on the lawsuit. I do know that several other residents are standing. We got affidavits signed with hundreds of residents saying that they did not like what happened, that they would like a do-over, that they would like their voices to be heard, and they would like their opportunity to choose who they want in leadership. That did not happen that evening. So I'm asking the courts again to look into the injustice done to the residents of Thornton Township. We will now open the floor for questions. We'll allow Max Solomon to answer any questions that the media might have.
Max, are you saying that the rules of the caucus were changed at the last minute?
I don't know that. That's not what we're saying. What I can tell you, though, is that those rules, which I personally obtained a copy of, are in violation. There's a lot of things that are wrong in those rules, and it's clearly stated in our lawsuit. How the rules got there or when they were changed, I don't know. However, I got a verbal confirmation that those were the rules that were adopted that night. Well, we can define adopted because it does say in the rule that it was adopted back on November 26th. And only, it's a lot that we can talk about. Our lawsuit is very clear. We would have an opportunity to iron it out in the courts, and it'll be interesting to see what happened with those rules. Those rules are very bothersome.
Are you calling for another caucus to be held?
Absolutely. That's what we're asking the courts to do. And again, it's up to the judge, it's up to the judges or the courts for the kind of relief that the judge may deem appropriate in this matter. We know that an injustice has been done. Many people were disenfranchised. Many people were out there. I was there. I observed it. I got a copy of the rules myself. I confirmed that it was the rules that was adopted that night. Well, Again, adoption is qualified. That was the rules that they went by. And here's one thing that's very important that we need to emphasize. The caucus started at about 7, and it was over maybe 10 minutes later. That was a shocker to me. Now, I got there maybe about 7:05 thinking, oh, I'm still probably going to be standing in line trying to get in. It was over. And that's what prompted me personally to a request for a copy of the rules, because I just wanted to know what happened. So, again, to answer your question, the rules has a lot in them that the courts need to take a look at.
Has Mr. Harris had any response to the lawsuit? Have you spoken to him at all?
No, we haven't spoken with Mr. Harris. Again, let me be clear. Mr. Harris is not being sued personally. The Democrat of Thornton Township. However, Mr. Harris is, as you know, a current state senator for the 15th district, this district, and most importantly, he is the Democrat Party committeeman who is tasked with the duty of that night. He was tasked with, according to the statute, that was his responsibility to make sure that things ran the way they should have ran. So we are naming him in his capacity as the committeeman of the Democrat Party for Thornton Township. Nothing personal.
Response from the Democratic Party of Thornton Township?
No, there hasn't been a response at all. As a matter of fact, the lawsuit was filed this morning. We're still going through the process. We're going to make sure that we serve all the parties that are named. We're going to make sure that we go through the process that are required by law. And we look forward to having our day in court.
Supervisor Henyard, you were adamant when we spoke with you before the caucus last week that you thought you had that one. You had a lot of supporters out there. We saw the outcome. Should a judge rule in your favor and you get this redo, do you feel confident that we would see it go in your favor, or is that not what this is about? Is it about the process as a whole?
It's about the process as a whole. It's about the people. I've always stood for the people. That's why I'm called the people's mayor, the people's supervisor. In that evening, I was very confident that I will be victorious in getting a nomination, because the people really do stand with me. But I was not able to display that because our voices was taken. I could not get a nomination nor nominate myself because it was the dictatorship which you all saw. And that's what I'm fighting for. Because me today, you tomorrow. If this stands, who says they're not going to do it to everybody moving forward? So the next voters' rights will be taken from them. And I don't believe in that. Our ancestors died for this very right to have a voice, to be able to speak up and say, hey, I choose you to be the mayor this evening. I choose you to be a trustee. But if you don't have the right to do that and it's taken from you, then what's the point of voting? The voter suppression I will not stand for. I want to vote. I vote every single election cycle. I have not missed one. I believe in that wholeheartedly. And I think the people of Thornton Township does as well. And they believe in me. And they see what I'm going through, and they stood with me, 10 toes down. There's over 500 people out there, but I couldn't display that because y'all didn't let them in. And when I say y'all, I'm talking about the Democratic organization didn't let them in. And you can see that off y'all cameras and footage and YouTubers, because it was busloads of people. We got them, whether they was from senior homes and throughout our communities. And it was great just to see the love and support. So I want to show that display on the do-over, that I'm praying and hoping that the judge grants us. Anyone else? All right. And lastly, I'll say this. On that evening, no matter you was with someone or against them, we all stood for what's right, which is we wanted to vote. It's a shame that that committeeman will not allow the people that he represents inside the building, whether he thought they was going to vote against him or for him. We all was outside, and this is why the tide is changing. They all are saying, hey, we see what's going on, we see what's wrong. We want Supervisor Henyard, because they saw what a dictator looks like at that moment. So I can't wait to show up and show out and show the people why I will be victorious. I will come out of the dust, the flames. I will be like the Robin in the night. I will be victorious. So I just can't wait to do that. So I will be the Phoenix.
And if the judge does not, where do you go from there? If this kind of stalls after you go through this process and it hits a wall, what next? What comes after that?
I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the courts are going to have an opportunity to rule on this, and whatever the courts decide, of course, is what we're going to comply with. But we believe strongly that the courts are going to take a very strong look at this. Because again, this is not about an individual person. Yes, the plaintiffs may have been individual person. Yes, the plaintiff, the lead plaintiff, Supervisor Henyard, who has been, taking the leadership on all these things. She's the one leading in this fight, or in this struggle, or in this lawsuit. However, the courts understand that this needs to be looked at, and whatever the courts decide is what we're going to comply with.
Okay. All right, thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. Thank you.